Hello guys, so we are now in Dubai at WOW Summit, and here with you Anna Tutova, co-founder of Coinstelegram, and our guest Eowyn Chen, who is the CEO of Trust Wallet, one of the biggest and most popular hot crypto wallets. Great to have you here, Eowyn.
Thank you, Anna.
So can you tell us about your background and how did you discover first crypto and how did you get involved in the industry?
Oh yeah, so I'm Eowyn Chen. I got into the crypto space in 2018, but I first heard about crypto when I was working as a management consultant on Wall Street. That was during the time 2014 when the Mt. Gox hacks happened. So I was first paying attention to blockchain because of fintech. That was the area that I was working on. And I think then I got into learn about crypto in 2017. Of course, it's because of the ICO rage. At that time, I was in San Francisco, and half of the guys in the city are talking about some sort of shitcoin. And I'm more of a contrarian, so at that time, I feel a little bit skeptical. I'll be like, is this more of a bubble, or there's something true to it? So when 2018, when the market actually crashed, I thought now it's an interesting time to look into if there's something real and substantial to it. So I have a couple of friends that I truly admire. They are great builders and developers in the space, and they were still very hardcore building stuff. And I happened to be luckily got in touch with the co-founder of Binance at that time, and she was the one that helped to paint the value of blockchain to be the value transfer layer for the internet very vividly to me. So I thought, hey, the friends that I admire in the space, and I see the vision of this space. So then I decided to join the crypto industry at the very deep of the bear market in the last cycle.
So you first joined Binance. Can you tell more about your activities there and how did you survive bear market at the time and what challenges did you see?
Yeah, I have a very humble starting point. I started just by being the co-founder's assistant. So I do everything, and whatever I see I add value to the co-founder, I do. So then as the businesses grow, especially during the bear market, I think last cycle with Binance, it was a lot of fundamental business features that has been launched. So then in order to help her and the organization's job easier, so I just take on more and more responsibilities until 2021 when I left the position at Binance. I was leading the central marketing team globally at Binance to be the VP. But at that time, I started to get a little bit bored with my job because, the reason why I joined the industry is because of the technology and then a lot of the new creative solutions that you can bring to the world because of the technology. And as Binance grow, then you need to get in touch with more bigger, wider retail user base. I find my counterparty and partners that I talk to more are no longer at the forefront of the industry, but much more mainstream brands, the kind of partnerships, cool sports team, they're still cool, but they're not the reason why I joined the industry. So then I got in touch with Trust Wallet founder, and again, he says that, hey, I just need someone else to take care of everything for me. And I thought, yeah, this is a great product. It's very easy to use, and how can we make it to more users to get directly to the decentralized space? And nothing better is at a wallet platform that gets to work with almost everyone in the industry. So that's where I am now.
So did you lead the acquirement of Trust Wallet by Binance?
No, I didn't. At that time, interestingly, I joined around the time when Trust Wallet was acquired. So that's where I get in touch with the founder, Victor, and we became friends since then. It's a little bit funny when you're talking about acquisition. It's essentially a handshake deal. 1-year-old Binance acquire 1-year-old Trust Wallet, and then that just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite interesting journey from being an assistant of the CEO of Binance to being the CEO of another company yourself.
Yeah, and some of the learnings that I took from it is that, I was a GM for another tech company before that. So I was like, there's no job above me, there's no job below me. If I see that this is a great opportunity for me to learn and add value, then I took a pay cut to join Binance to do so. And I think history proves that just don't care too much about, whether this is a prestigious job, high-paying job, but trying to add value and learn on the job, then ultimately you will become a good asset accumulation in terms of personal experiences and also impact in the long term.
And did you start investing back then in crypto in 2018, or did you just start working and then started investing later?
I didn't have time to invest, so I basically work
But did you get your salary in crypto or no?
I got my bonuses in crypto, yes. So that helps me quite significantly. But not to the extent that I can hold the crypto. That's a very important lesson that I learned, is that sometimes I need to watch for my own psychology. If I do believe in something in the long term, then sometimes don't get bothered with the fluctuation with the market, and then believing the vision and the rationale why I think this is worth holding, then just hold. Yeah.
And in what do you see the value of Bitcoin, of the crypto?
I think Bitcoin's value proposition is super clear at the moment, right? It's just the alternatives to gold with a much better feature-wise in terms of storage, liquidity, and all those stuffs. And in terms of other cryptos, I think each one of them provide a different value proposition. Like Ethereum is supposed to be kind of the development layer. Well, right now, even though Bitcoin is trying, some parts of Bitcoin community wants to do something similar, like Ethereum to Bitcoin, but we'll see how that community adapts to it. Ultimately, I think every crypto needs to figure out what is the role that they try to play in the whole user journey. Sometimes certain cryptos doesn't necessarily have the investment value, but they have a lot of engagement value. And it's great and play that very well. And some of the cryptos are more of a security nature, then accept that this is a security nature and do that part well. So I think it's very hard to describe that, hey, crypto has one value. It really depends on what their purpose is trying to do, and then do you use it for the purposes that you intend to.
And from the side of Trust Wallet, we see now there are quite a lot of different other wallet solutions, and
yes.
Probably the
yes.
most known is MetaMask. So
yes.
how do you compete with them, and what advantages do you have, and how do you try to get your share of the market?
Yes. Competition is an interesting thing. MetaMask is way earlier than we do, so they come along with the Ethereum. And why I said competition is an interesting thing is that because we're not necessarily the same product or serve the same user group. So MetaMask came from a developer serving community background. So they did developer stuff very well, and the whole product that they designed is also coming with that genetics about serving developer regions. And Trust Wallet was first born because during the ICO phase, there were no easy mobile wallet to use that holds all the tokens together. So it was born out of this angle. It's about how to serve the normal users to have better access to crypto. So it was more of a retail focus to begin with. So for us, that's the genetics when we're thinking about making decisions on product, on services. And same with MetaMask, that they have their priorities and the genetics and principles in making decisions. I think ultimately, with so many other wallets coming out, the interesting thing is I don't see much market share change for us. We're actually growing market share for the past 2 years. As I've been in Trust Wallet. So I also was sometimes perplexed to it, is that, hey, are people not dazzled by the new wallets that have been coming out all the time? And when I talked to quite a large number of the users, they told us that, even though this is a trustless ecosystem, but the users still have a very high switching cost, especially when it comes down to wallet. Because how do they trust if the wallet is secure enough? Or is trustworthy enough? And there's also a lot of familiar user habit to it. So we find that there are incredible amount of stickiness and retention with our existing users that just end up staying with us. So I don't worry too much about the competition in terms of taking market share. And in fact, I find a lot of the good competition is a good thing because it means that more people are building this product that can run more experiments at the same time. We still have a lot of UI, UX gap to go in the industry. And the more that we see experiments happening now, it means that we don't have to spend our own development resources, but we can see what are some good practices and experiments going around, and we can learn very quickly as well. So that helps the whole industry to push this faster. So I generally consider that competition, more wallets coming up is a good thing for us. And also, the space is growing to a speed that it's not going to be any provider takes all shares. It's good that there are more wallets focused on a specific niche group of users that they're serving and do that very well. And that's how my take is in terms of competition and the surge of the wallet providers in the space.
And with Trust Wallet, you have as well another open source product, Trust Wallet Core, open for developers to build on your infrastructure.
Yeah.
So can you tell more about this product?
Yes. So Trust Wallet used to be fully open source. And then later on, we realized that the product layer, when it's open source, we get so many scams that just get a fake Trust Wallet and then scam people's money. So we make the product layer closed source, but the infrastructure layer, especially where the key signing, authorization part, open source. So one part is so that it keeps the transparency and security for the most important part of the wallets to be verifiable by the community. And the second is that we believe that most of the wallets and blockchains that contributes to Wallet Core can allow multi-chain world grow faster. So Wallet Core essentially is the mobile wallet for multi-chain integration. And right now, I know that besides us, there were many other wallets. Mobile wallets has been built on Wallet Core, like Crypto.com wallet, Frontier, Blockchain.com wallet. They all built on top of the Wallet Core. And OKX wallet is also using our Web3 providers. So we're also very happy that it contributes to the whole ecosystem to grow together and allow faster multi-chain integration because of this infrastructure. And besides Wallet Core, we're also rolling out some of the important tools, such as we have a new security tool called Wizard, which is transaction simulation. We know that some of the projects are providing a pay services for different dApps, different wallets, but we actually developed this tool to be open source, and we put an EIP to it, because I believe that the more dApps and the more wallets get to expose the scams earlier on and the wrong projects earlier on, it makes the whole space cleaner. And then it's better for everyone. So we hope that any of the good security tools and standards can be adopted by more players in the industry will be better in the long term for everyone.
And what is your process of integrations of new blockchains? Like what are your requirements, and how can any blockchain come to you and cooperate with you?
Yeah, this is a pain point for us. Usually it's like different blockchain try to reach out to our BD team and talking through the whole integration process. Sometimes it's arbitrary. It's just our developers figure out a new chain and think that this is a great technical solution, and we just integrated it. But going forward, I actually wanted to involve community more, especially on deciding, because ultimately it's the community and the users that wants to be on the chain that we want to support. So we might come up, this is in kind of in planning process, so that we might happen to have a process, allow people, TWT holders and community to vote in order to say, hey, 1 month we have this quota about EVM, about Cosmos chains, about any other non-EVM chains, and then any projects that are interested in to be integrated, and then if the users have demands for them, and then it will be shown in the voting process, then we will integrate them as a result.
And you've been now through like 2 cycles. You started in the bear market, and you started being the CEO of Trust Wallet during the almost peak of the bull market. So how do you see the change in the user metrics? Are they still growing, or are they lower now?
Interesting enough, we do see growth. So right now we have about 70 million global total downloads, and more than 60% of them are happening in the past 2 years. So it's still kind of a growing in a silent manner. The interesting thing is that the growth doesn't necessarily happen to see in the more vocal places, let's say United States or somewhere else. It happens in the very quiet places that you don't see much on Twitter or X.com nowadays. So we find that some of the fundamental values about crypto is still accepted by people around the world, especially like with stablecoin, with fiat, inflation hedging, remittance that needs to send money across the borders. So those are still very widely used utilities, even though they are not very sexy DeFi stuff, but they are the fundamental value driven to the society that have been used by our users.
And as well, what differences do you see in different regions, and in both in terms of regulations and crypto adoption? You just moved from the US to the UAE, so can you tell about the differences in these countries and as well in other regions too?
Yeah, I'm still new to the space, so like to the UAE, so I'm also with an open mind trying to learn more. I think at least when I was on the US side, there are a lot more uncertainty and fear going around with the crypto-driven companies or decentralized companies over there. for me and for our company is that we're at the stage that we still want to see what are the other diversity and options out there. And right now, UAE is one of the most open regions and most advanced in terms of regulations as far as we heard. So we wanted to be here and also see if we can learn something regarding to the futures of how the playing field has been, is going to be set globally. And we saw that this might be one of the forefront of the global view that we can see, and we wanted to also contribute to if the space has a growing needs for level field staging from the regulatory or compliance or education side.
And in your opinion, what do we need for the crypto mass adoption?
I think ultimately it's a value utility. Many of the people are saying UI UX is one of the key gaps, which I think is for us a key role and a mission to adopt. But if crypto and blockchain are providing real value to society, no matter how painful it is, users will jump the hoop. I think when users don't come in is when they don't see enough utilities that's meaningful to their lives. So I think the key is still about calling for entrepreneurs and builders in the space is what are the real problems that we're solving that's 10x better than the existing world out there. And once we can deliver that value, then we can get mass adoption.